Good evening, everyone. I hope what I will share, I don't know, and talking about knowledge, and that means I don't know. Like, for example, there is something that I was looking like Confucius says real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. So I was thinking, I'm really ignorant. I don't know. So this Confucius quote was really agreeing to my knowledge. But anyway, why this topic? Why knowledge? In my life living, which I think I've lived so many years, it has always been bothering me, thinking, why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my purpose? I wish I could ask what's our purpose. But before I say what's our purpose in this life, be it 10 years, be it 50 years, be it 70 years, be it 90 years, those that are lucky. But what is it? And as I was trying to think about this, it took me to thinking, okay, what's my purpose? The response to this, it came to it, what are you asking when you say, what's your purpose? So it meant maybe I have to go deeper, but how? I'm ignorant. I don't know. And I came across the writing of Baha'u'llah, which is one also of those respected manifestations of God. I won't read the whole, because it talks about justice, but as he talks about justice, he says, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom, if thou desirest me, and neglect it not, that I may confide with thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes, and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge, and not through the knowledge of thy neighbor. Then I was thinking, what does that mean? Where do I get this knowledge? What is this knowledge? Then I got confused, and I really found that I don't know. But this is interesting, because on the other side, whether you look at it scientifically, or spiritually, or whatever, as a human being, there is something in us. When I feel happy, what is happy? Is this flesh? Where can I touch and say, I'm happy, so this cheek of mine is really happy, or this foot of mine, I couldn't. And when I'm struggling with that, I notice that as a human being, scientifically, I'm a mammal, I'm an animal, but the things I do as a human being are different from other animals, even the mammals. Like, I choose what I want to do. As much as the law of nature is governing the doings, like now I feel hot, then I have to take this jacket. Even a dog will feel hot and it will pant and do that. That's a law of nature. I've been running this day. I had classes with younger ones than these this afternoon, and these were calling me left and right. So I'm exhausted. But at the same time, I choose to go and sleep or to be here, to sit, to talk. As much as I'm exhausted, there's a choice. And then again, I look at what those who know say, you as a human being, you have a free will. Hence, you can choose what you do. You decide. But my question, going back to Confucius' code, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. How do I choose How do I know what to choose? What makes me choose this? What base, what information do I have? Do I just choose, pushed by law of nature? Like animals, like plants, like everything. A plant, the law of nature will make it grow towards the light, towards the sun. If you can take a good example of a sunflower, will follow the sun. Even other plants, the leaves won't wake up, the branches won't wake up one morning and say, no, I want to go join the roots. No, they will always go up. But with me, it's different. So that made me to go look at this knowledge, say, I need to know. If I have to choose, if I have a free will, if this free will has to govern me, I must know. I must understand what I'm choosing. What if I choose something that is not good for me or good for me? I don't know. Actually, how do I know good and not good? Hence the topic of knowledge. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Then, as I was like that, I said, okay, if I know what to choose, that maybe will take me again to the real question, what is my purpose? What is my essential purpose in the life that I have here? Because one day I know whether I like it or not, I'm going to go. Many I've known have gone. My parents, my friends, my little brother, he was 7 years. I had questions why he's 7 and he goes, he dies, and others. Then I found that I'm really ignorant. So I thought it's a topic that we should, personally, I think we should think about it. We should learn to do, that will help us to live. At least we know what we're dealing with. So when we am there, then I thought for today, how do I go about it? I thought I don't have to know because I don't know. Again, another philosopher, we can check who are these people, known as Nicholas Copernicus. He says, to know that we know what we know. To know that we know what we know. And to know that we do not know what we do not know. That is true knowledge. Then it confuses me more now. How do I know what I know? And how do I know what I do not know? But he says, if I know what I know, and I know what I do not know, then I'll have got true knowledge. Then I thought that maybe we can explore together. Because we are few, I just printed these, but I have them here. Maybe we can share, and anybody is willing to read. I don't want to be boring. My voice is not as nice as voice. If we can share, but no, I will. If someone can just, we take it one by one. So I was trying to find out what does knowledge mean before we can answer all these things that are confusing me. What are we talking about? Even the concept, before we can even go. So if maybe you don't mind, you can read that. That is one of, I think it's from Baha'u'llah. And then I have something from the Bible, the Proverbs, if someone could just read that one.
Knowledge is one of the wondrous gifts of God. It is incumbent upon everyone to acquire it. Such arts and material means as are now manifest have been achieved by virtue of his knowledge and wisdom, which have been revealed in epistles and tablets through his most exalted pen, a pen out of whose treasury pearls of wisdom and utterance and the arts and crafts of the world are brought to light. Paul.
Okay, Baha'u'llah, it just will take, because of in the interest of time, we could just really think about this, and maybe if we have a comment and try to explore more. For example, here Baha'u'llah says, knowledge is one of the wondrous gifts of God. It is incumbent upon everyone to acquire it. Okay. It's a gift of God. It is incumbent for us. Maybe the question would be, then what? But he says it's a gift of God. And it is important that we, and then it goes to talk about such arts and material means as are now manifest, have been achieved by virtue of his knowledge and wisdom, which have been revealed in the epistles and tablets through his most exalted plan. But what does the Bible, for example, say? We read something from the Proverbs.
Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. Proverbs 1:5. The fear of the Lord is beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Give the instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seek knowledge.
That we get from the Proverbs. And you can read this? It's from Swami someone.
So long as we have
Knowledge?
of your natural nature, we are beggars.
It says, so long as we have no knowledge of our real nature, we are beggars.
Yes. So if we listen to what the Proverbs says, it again tells us that this knowledge, we have to get it. Like one of the parts she read, it says, so I say, an intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. What does that mean? What's the difference? What is there a difference, or is it enhancing the same thing? And it says, give instruction to a wise man, and he will still be wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. So does this mean knowledge, acquiring knowledge means it's a continuum? It's something we have to carry on. We have to. I take, and like what he just read, say, as long as we have no knowledge of our real nature, going back again to the question, what is our essential purpose here? Why are we here? Which means we need to know our real nature. Before I can understand my purpose, I must know who am I, what is my real nature. And now I say, as long as I don't have that knowledge, I'm a beggar, and I don't know what does that mean. English is my 10th language. But it was very interesting to me to hear that. And then there are many, if we have time, we'll look at it. But then I look at, okay, it seems this knowledge, as Baha'u'llah says, is a gift from God, and it's incumbent for everyone to acquire it. And as the Bible, Proverbs, my Bible's Proverbs are in the Old Testament. Am I right? Yes. Yes, they're in the Old Testament. That was even before Jesus Christ. Yeah. This concept of knowledge. And you find it, I have something actually from the Quran. It says it is only, maybe it's, It's the two. We believe the Proverbs, that's the two.
Okay. It is only those who have knowledge among his servants that fear Allah. Quran 35:28. Knowledge is that which benefits, not that which is memorized. I should read that again. Knowledge is that which benefits, not that which is memorized. Imam al-Safi'i.
Yeah, that is all based in Islam. Again, you get it from Islam. It's kind of emphasizing on this, which means it's our continuous. Then the next question, okay, Baha'u'llah says acquired. The Imam there is saying this similar thing, the Proverbs, and this guy, Nicholas, who was saying to know what we know, to know that we know what we know, and to know that we do not know what we do not know. That is true knowledge. So he's again taking us not just knowledge, like he was, there was, I think in the code was talking, is it, you are told it's not what to be memorized, knowledge.
Yes.
Can you read it again, sorry?
Yes. Knowledge is that which benefits, not that which is memorized. Oh, I read it. I'm so sorry. Knowledge is that which benefits, not that which is memorized.
Again, it's expanding on knowledge. It's not just, I know I have to eat, I know I have to talk, I know I have to greet people, or I know I have to, I don't know. But it must have some benefit, some purpose. Then, how do I go about it? Then I found something, it's one of the philosophers, is known as Sufyan ibn Uyayna. I don't know if I'm reading it right. He's saying something very interesting. Jamjen, you want to? He says something very interesting about acquiring knowledge. I'm sorry, because I want us to talk again. I don't want to talk alone, so I'm just rushing a little bit.
The first step in knowledge is to listen, then to be quiet and attentive, then to preserve it, then to put it into practice, and then to spread it. Listen, then to be quiet and attentive, then to preserve it, then to put it into practice, and then to spread it. The first step.
And then I thought that today maybe we could spend a few minutes sharing on that. That we have a glimpse of that. It's for us to be what we are as God created it, or whatever made us to be here, whatever system or whatever. But we still, one thing we cannot deny, this free will, which leads us to choices we make. And I think all of us, even a small child, when it comes to choices and decisions, one thing that again we agree, whether we believe in whatever, as humans, whatever choice and decisions we make, as free as we can, they always have consequences. And sadly, we are not free from the consequences of these decisions and these choices we make. Hence, we have to manage our free will, because once we exercise it, granted, that's how we should be. We should exercise our free will, not to be blind. But we must know whatever decision I make, whatever choice I make, I have to make myself. But there will be consequences, and the consequences, I'm not talking negative, because people, when you bring the word consequence, they always shift to a bad thing. No, consequence could be a good thing, could be a benefit. Some reading could be very good thing, very good. What does it do to you? Wouldn't I want that to have that knowledge that when I've made this decision, the consequence is there, that comes out as a result of my decision makes me good. But of course, there will be those that maybe I'll have to stand alone, that I will have to be on my own and acknowledge them. Not in the world, not the 8 billion people who say good or bad. So hence, again, we need to acquire this knowledge. So I thought we can spend a few minutes talking about just the steps, the first step. There might be many steps, but just the first step. Any comments? I don't want to talk alone.
Knowledge, I mean, I feel that there's no limit.
Mm-hmm.
The sky is the limit, actually. There's no limit. You learn, every day you learn. And it's good to learn. And you realize how much you don't know. Like in the scriptures, you realize how much you don't know. I realize it myself every day. And no matter where the knowledge comes from, it can come from the gardener who tells me something that I didn't know about the plants. So there's knowledge coming from all sorts of places. There's no limit. And that's why I feel sorry for those people who say they know it all. You don't have to tell them. And that's the height of arrogance as far as I'm concerned. I think we must be very, very humble and accept that we don't know. We must learn. And it's a beautiful thing to learn. There's nothing wrong. You can't close the doors and the windows and everything. You can't live in a cocoon. You must be open and listen. Meet people, learn, read, and so on and so forth.
And actually, to agree what he is talking about, there's quotes from Islam about exactly what you have just said.
Seek a quote about education in Islam. Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. Acquire knowledge and impart it to the people. Knowledge is the last property of the believer. So wherever he finds it, he should take it. The ink of the scholar is more sacred than the blood of the martyr.
I found this very interesting.
In fact, once you acquire all those knowledge, you also need to share it. And sometimes I feel that I don't share it enough. I wish I could share more. But there's time limit. There's so much can do in a day. But
I think it's also that notion here where they talk about to listen, be quiet.
Yes.
I think the quietness brings about thoughts and just understanding.
yeah,
So understanding what we hear. I think that's how I read this. Then to preserve it, how I understand it is to think about it and to really kind of take it in, because then as we take it in, we are able to put it in practice. Because a lot of times knowledge is, we read, and it's a whole lot of theory, and it's beautiful, and we think that's knowledge, so we can talk about it a lot. Like all these theorists and all these philosophers, etc., they talk a lot, but what do they do in practice, in terms of practicing that knowledge that they have acquired? So I think that's kind of, for me, that's the difference between talking about things or doing things superficially or doing things for just, as you said, arrogance, to show off that I know something, and the kind of the reality that knowledge brings about change, right? And then that change needs to be communicated out. That's how I understand this.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like in case of like one case you want to show like the people that whether you know why we don't know. So I think it's good to humble like every time, and you must learn from that other people. Don't just thinking like when you know better than them. No, so you need to be humble, and then maybe you can even help them to know to humble from the people. Yeah.
Yeah, you're raising important points, Jam and Osmaria, and yeah, you raise like Jam talk about understanding, like going back again to that first step, where you listen and be quiet and generate something that now and actually it's very interesting. Say then to be quiet and attentive. Then preserve it. I think it's when he's talking about, like here there's a quote by Arvot. He says, without understanding, there is no knowledge. So I think we need that listening to understand. Always with the youth, but I know I'm training myself because if I'm, for example, talking with Atusa or Atusa is saying something to me, actually I'm so anxious to respond to what she's saying, then I miss an opportunity to hear what she is saying. That listening to understand instead of listening to respond. Because if I'm worried, when does she finish so that I don't understand. I have no knowledge of what she is saying. I've lost an opportunity. So that's why I like what Avot says. Without understanding, there is no knowledge. And without knowledge, no understanding. Now again, twist me. Because I thought by listening to understand, I will know. But again, saying without knowledge, if I have no clue of what he's talking about, I will not understand. Now, how do I find myself? I'm just throwing questions, friends. Because I was so hammering even to say, please just calm down when someone is talking and wait until you understand. If you don't say, can you repeat? I'm sorry, am I correct that you are saying this? Then I thought that, I know, I can do. Now, this is strong, say, without knowledge, there's no understanding. Maybe I'm listening, maybe I'm quiet, maybe I'm attentive, but he's talking somewhere. So this knowledge, and again, it is this one, it's called saying of the fathers. Where there is no knowledge, there can be no insight. Again, what Jamson was talking about. And where there is no insight, there can be no knowledge. Friends, I'm more confused, so I'm happy to confuse you more. These two statements are really messing my brain. Without understanding, there is no knowledge, and without knowledge, there is no understanding. Where there is no knowledge, there can be no insight, and where there is no insight, there can be no knowledge. Then it makes me, with my last 5 minutes.
Can I say something?
Yes.
No, I was just thinking like for in case now, when you talk with our children, sometimes your child come and then just say, and then you talk something, and then when you jump, instead of listening. And your child can tell you straight that, please listen to me. And you busy dropping the child instead of listening. So I think it's very important that we can listen. Just relax and listen.
Maybe what else Maria is answering my problem, in my point, that maybe we do that because we have no knowledge. Hence, we don't understand other people. It doesn't happen only with children. This is also what I learned when I was still going to school, that psychology that you know why people raise their voices. When you start a conversation, you'll find that everything, immediately I lose the understanding of what you're saying. I'll raise my voice. And then people end up shouting at each other because they don't understand, they don't hear each other, they have no knowledge, and then they end up fighting. Maybe this thing is very important. Now, because it's too complicated for me, I'm going what Papa was saying, that knowledge is not just, okay, I have knowledge, I know, but it must be of benefit. We learn. Tony, do you want to read? So, Abdul Baha, who is the son of Baha'u'llah, tells us something very interesting about, okay, Baha'u'llah said, knowledge is a gift of God, acquire it. The Bible said, Islam said, even there's many, even from Hindu religion, it's just that in the interest of time, and the ordinary people like your Nicholas and others. But he says something very interesting about what do we do with this knowledge once we have it.
Knowledge is not enough. We hope by the love of God we shall put it into practice. A spiritual universal force is needed for this. Meetings are good for enduring spiritual force. To know that it is possible to reach a state of perfection is good. To march forward on the path is better. We know that to help the poor and to be merciful is good and pleases God. But knowledge alone does not feed the starving man. Nor can the poor be warmed by knowledge or words in the bitter winter. We must give the practical help of loving kindness. Abdul Baha.
And Sri Radhema says, spiritual knowledge is fruitful only when it is applied.
Yeah.
Like Abdul Baha said, we hope we'll put it into practice. We not just acquire knowledge and be, the joke given to professors, because they have they acquire so much knowledge that even their classes become heavy, go like this, and they will tell all these stories and everything. Like there was this professor, he was on an excursion in a boat, and then they were swimming, and this man, the canoe man, was just an illiterate man. And the professor kept saying, do you know philosophy? Do you know psychology? Do you know this, all these ologies? Do you know biology? Do you know? And the poor man said, no, professor, I know nothing. And each time this guy says, I know nothing, professor, half of your life is gone. Do you know psychology? No, professor. And then the tide changed, and then there was a storm in the sea, and then the guy, the canoeman, said, Professor, do you know semiology? No, what did you say? All your life is gone. So, Professor, with all this knowledge, all our lives is gone, as Abdul Baha says here, and this is so. And in conclusion, if we can discuss afterwards, I thought this is very interesting because actually the world we live in now, we're so superficial. Everything has been turned into a slogan. Even this, peace be it, love be it, giving, everything has been turned into a slogan. We have lost what we thought we know, the little we know. Actually, as Papa was saying, and we were all agreeing that actually every day we learn that we know nothing. if, as Osmaria says, we could start just by being that humble.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and say, I know nothing. Make an effort. Because without this knowledge, really, I wouldn't say all our lives is gone, but we will struggle. We will struggle to find our essential purpose. We will struggle to go with our day-to-day things. But again, so that means we must continue acquiring, listening, trying to prove whatever we get, we put it into practice. And learning, again, this, like it was saying by Islam, it's not confined that you'll get it in books. You was talking about your 14-year-old grandchild. My grandchildren, they teach me things that I've not dreamt of. Even not even the people fancy things of technology, just general things. The way they ask questions, so if we could all open up. And because this is a gift of God, there was another writing and saying, knowledge is as wings to man's life and a ladder for his ascent. Its acquisition is incumbent upon everyone. That's Baha'u'llah again, like from the beginning. And it's very important because it will give us wings. It will make us scale spaces that we have seen already, how mankind, but we also know that it has been proven, or those who research or who try to get a little bit of knowledge. First, the brain that God gave us, we're not even using it to its capacity. And one of the ways to use the brain is to acquiring of knowledge. But those who do, they confine it to themselves. They don't want to put it into practice. And we know mankind could have advanced far better if we could really be on this path of acquiring knowledge, applying it every day, go back again, like in a fountain, you get more. You use it, you are watering your garden this side, you go back, you scoop the water, you water, your plants grow. But as society, as mankind, we're so lazy. Even the free gifts that God gave us, like just using this little, we're using less than 10%, those few, the extreme 2%. It's just using maybe about 10%. The majority of us are not even tampering there. We are only consuming. And there's a difference between information and knowledge. But currently, the large out of the 8 billion people, 98% of it were just consuming the information, not even consuming their knowledge. Hence, we are all beggars because we don't even know our real selves. Hence, we have become so superficial. Hence, we only listen to those who have loud voices and were just followers. Hence, we always want this entertainment. We want to be entertained. Universal laws of justice of the Baha'i faith talks about how humanity in these days enjoy being entertained. And they are passive. They are only being entertained. They are not even doing anything about what entertains them. They are just consuming it, and then it makes us paralyzed. Hence now civilization, which is the purpose of God, our essential purpose is to advance the process of civilization, which is ever advancing. It was, it will, it was, it is, and it will. Even all of us have gone because life will continue. But while we're here, these 0 to 90, 100 years, those are lucky, we have to play our role. So I would close by saying it is hope that this short exploration we had today could take us really, or could help us to respond to the question, which is, what is our purpose, or my purpose? And the answer being offered is that we must discover our essential purpose, not just our purpose, but our core essential purpose. And my limited understanding, our core essential purpose is to carry forward an ever advancing civilization. And for that, we need to know, at least even if it's a bit, we cannot go blind. We cannot be all blind leading the blind. We must at least have some glimpse of some knowledge. And as we engage in this process of ever-advancing civilization, this purpose it is advised, my reading advises me that it can happen through the promotion of two inseparable processes. One process is developing our own inherent potentialities. That means we have to know who we are, our real nature, and develop those inherent potentialities. And once this goes parallel, don't do one and then the next, they happen parallel. And the second one will have to contribute to transformation of society. It's no point that I develop my inherent potentialities and capacities and capabilities, but I'm not applying it to my immediate and my extended space, so that you, all of us can, and we come with yours, we can all transform society. And lastly, there's another topic, by living the life of internal and external reflection, as Papa said, daily. In this process of internal and external reflection, what's being aware, being and doing, getting knowledge and applying it, observing and reflecting. It's always happening. And then God helping us, we will find practical means of playing our role in an onward march of the human race. As human race, we are on an onward march and march forward. We must never stand still. That's a sign to rotting. The day we stop, we stand, even for a second, it's a bad sign. So we must keep on marching. Thank you, friends. I stop there.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing these gems of wisdom. Thank you.
I hope, I don't know, I didn't hear what I was saying. I don't know what I was saying.
Please carry on chatting.
Okay, I'll take no, I have them.
One thing sometimes that upsets me is when someone knows a certain thing, say for instance, something to do with computer, and he's acquired that knowledge, and I ask the question how to do a certain operation, and I see the person running short of patience. So because he knows something, he expects everybody else to know. But
at the same level.
But I'm asking because I don't know. And don't lose the patience because I don't know. How did you know? You also learned. But then share your knowledge. Don't keep it to yourself. Or don't assume that everybody else is on the same level as you and knows everything like you do.
That's always, I like that line and say, I'm asking because I don't know. That's always my favorite line, because you just innocently ask them, okay, that was up. And then you see someone so
Irritated.
I said, I'm sorry, because I don't know. I don't want to assume. There are things I learned to avoid in my life as growing up. Like I said, you read between the lines. I say I don't read between the lines because first I don't see the lines.
Can you show me those eyes? I'm blind, I can't see.
Assume, because I found that assumption leads
Oh,
to
you know what they say
misunderstanding.
about assuming, eh?
Assuming, misunderstanding, conflict, and I'm a very coward person. I don't like
Confrontation.
I don't like confrontation. It intimidates me.
It's not nice.
It's not nice. So I
It's
don't
uncalled for.
assume that Parivash is this and this. No. Do not tell me this. I'm asking. But people, like we say, somebody or if they want you to explain, I want to know. I don't know.
Like,
Asking. Finish it.
like the father, the way he treats his son. You know, the son doesn't know, so don't shout at him.
Otherwise,
Teach him.
if he knew, maybe it's another story that is disturbed, but he wouldn't do it. I wish it was me. If I knew, I wouldn't do it. Yes.
I had a thought when you were speaking, just that it wasn't really related to any of the topics, but the fact that with knowledge should come with a certain degree of wisdom.
Yeah.
Because knowledge can also be dangerous, knowing, I mean, how many of the most intelligent people turned out to be tyrants and just horrible people on this earth. So, and yet you have a whole amount of other intelligent people who are doing great things. So yeah, I just think that there should be some wisdom with the hearing and saying and speaking and all that.
Okay, there is something here I didn't read. It says knowledge is knowing what to say. Wisdom is knowing when to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
So I agree with you, Auntie. Not everything we know can be said. Actually, I think Baha'u'llah also says that. Say, I'll paraphrase, not everything that man knows could be disclosed. And not everything that could be disclosed is necessarily timely.
Yes.
And not everything that could be timely disclosed is necessarily wise at that moment. So you have to pass through things. Okay, is this true? Yes, it's knowledge. It's good. Hallelujah. But is it timely? Can I say,
You know, another thing.
yeah, and until to the last part will be wisdom. Is it marks?
Yeah, what I want to say is that certain things that can be discussed among adults and certain things that cannot be discussed in front of children. I remember growing up, I was asked to leave the room.
Yes.
My grandmother was good at that.
Yeah.
So I will write a script for you.
Now I see my
You know, as children, we are curious.
now I see my grandchildren interrupting the adults' conversations. I keep quiet because I'm not their father, and I see that the parents are okay with it. As far as I'm concerned, it's not okay.
I think as grandparents we suffer the same thing.
Yeah, it's not okay because they're interfering our conversation, or interrupting our conversation.
I mean, I always think there is like two things, right? There is respect.
Yes.
So there is a time where, you know, if you're talking, then if I interrupt, even
That's
should
rude.
I be a child or an adult, it's rude, right?
Absolutely.
But there is also a time where I think in the olden days children were not heard. It was
Absolutely.
really kind of the children were in the rooms, or they would not. There were many things that they would
That's
not
how I
hear.
was raised.
Nowadays, in a way, children know things. You know, they hear things. So there
But
has
is
to
it
be a
good for
lot.
them or not?
Exactly. Well, that's why I mean that there needs to be a lot of communication with children and a lot of, let's
Guidance.
say, your guidance to see that the information or the knowledge that they're acquiring is something of benefit to them at the age that they're at, right? Because at different ages, maybe different types of knowledge would be of benefit.
Sure.
But I think that's kind of the question, is to say we need to also allow the children to have a space to engage, so that we build those communication channels with children, because otherwise there is so much information that they're
There's
getting.
so much information, and which is not necessarily
Exactly.
good knowledge.
Exactly.
So hence, there's space to be created to have the conversation, to
It's
have,
ignorance.
and then so that they could again bring in their inherent potentiality to filter. So that even when they are old, like in the Bible says, train your son while he's young, something like that. Then when he's old, he will not divert from that path, something like that. It's in the Bible. So that they can filter without you, because you will not always be there for the children. There's a time they will be on their own. But if all this consuming, because we're consuming now, everything, there's no discrimination, poison, it's like, I don't know, it's like, I'm talking myself. Like there are things I cut off. Certain news, I just...
Exactly.
But at the same time, there's a fine line. Am I losing my ability to acquire knowledge? And if I'm filtering what measure I'm using, that this is wrong, this is good. So it's a very important thing. I think families should start these conversations. But as you say, it's not by default that children, we are infants, we are children who are toddlers, who are teenagers, who are adolescents. It's not by mistake. Those stages have certain things that belong there.
You know that the one reading that concept of free choice that you shared, I think is so important, because it allows, if we kind of grow up with that notion that we are able to change and we are able to choose who we want to be, what we want to do, and I think that's a very important thing, because then we are able to understand where we at, who we are, and make choices that are conducive or benefit to us. Because oftentimes, I mean, if we don't know ourselves, or we don't have a kind of a belief system or a core values or things like that, we kind of get led by others, right? There's this trend about doing this, let's follow this trend. Oh, well, there is this amazing speaker that talks about, he's so charismatic, let me follow him, you know? And there's so much of that going on in this world, that we just follow things without actually thinking and questioning those things. I mean, look at fake news. I mean, half of it we don't know if it's true or not.
Exactly. And if really you are not in constant search for knowledge, how will you filter that? But my frustration is this superficiality that everybody is shouting and we all follow. Look, now we have maybe could have been good things. This social media could have been, but I hear people are doing it for likes. Yeah. Whatever crap I put there, as long as somebody who didn't even focus just ticks a like, maybe was meaning to swear at me and then end up ticking a like, and then it things like that. Tony, you have not said anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mary's father.
Yes.
Does he live here?
No, he lives about 2 complexes down.
Oh.
So he's not inside here, but his house is there. Not the one next door, it's the one after that.
It's a house.
It's a house within a complex.
So it's got nothing to do with Baha'i.
No,
It's
no,
not a
it's just
property.
that. No, it's not the property of the Baha'i. This is the only kind of property that we have. Yeah. Did you have hot chocolate? Would you having some coffee, Maria?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Would you having some coffee or tea?
And water.
Yeah, it's a deep topic,
Subject,
eh?
yeah.
And it kind of takes you to many different.
Yeah, that's it creates many topics.
Yes, a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions and answers. And
Like you said, but we don't know, we don't know. I mean, there's so much to kind of understand and to question.
But then it's important to admit it.
Yes. True.
Be humble. Humility is so important, I feel.
Yeah.
Nowadays, humility is like almost non-existent.
no,
Have you noticed?
we're all arrogant, all knowing, the all wise.
Yes. And also the body language, if you see.
Yeah. I think because everybody has to show that they are an expert in their field. If you're not an expert, then why are you talking? You know, that's what it is. Well, everyone has areas, have questions, have ideas, have understandings and insights that are of value. You know,
We
but
can enrich
exactly.
ourselves.
Yes.
Just like those steps. Like, first step is to just listen.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Absorb.
Absorb.
And some of the most knowledgeable people are those who are quiet and then they just listen and listen and listen. So, and yet you say we listen to the loud mouths. Those are the people we follow just because they are so loud and they talk a lot.
Whether we understand what they say or not, they just make noise. So, where is the noise?
Right.
Yeah. You know that writing that you read about, I think it was the first writing, the first reading that you did, that talked about the nature of man. Was it the nature of man? That first reading?
Yeah.
In that we shouldn't kind of just imitate others. We should use our free will. There is also the true nature of man. And I was thinking, if we're thinking about true knowledge and the true nature of man, which is a reflection of God, right? Of God's attributes, then true knowledge would then be kind of based on those divine kind of attributes.
God says you will know with your own knowledge, not through the knowledge of others. Because the true knowledge is true, is what God is. So if we follow that trend, that's when we get real knowledge, not faith.
And also, I think that the other reading that first step in terms of applying things and putting it in practice, I think oftentimes the criticism towards religions is that we all talk, but we're all hypocrites. You know, we kind of there is a difference between what we say and what we do, right? And so that's kind of the challenge, is that whatever we we understand, we assimilate in terms of those kind of divine teachings need to be applied. Otherwise, then it's hypocrisy, right? It talks to
That's
that
why
criticism.
this concept of being and doing is so important. But I don't understand it. We don't understand it. Some people don't understand that. That living the life of internal and external reflection all the time. I check myself, and then I check her, and what I am, I think I am, like maybe in 2 ways. But it will be better understood if what I'm doing reflects what I say. It's complex, but it should be simple. If we just live simple, what I say, what I do, what I whether it's minimal, whether it's, but not these contradictions we see everywhere. We see it in every sphere of our lives, and sadly, even in our governing institutions, especially institutions. Maybe individuals are trying, but because we, as individuals, we get swallowed by this well of community and so-called leadership, so-called institutions. Because, of course, we have to do whether, and sadly, it's not only politicians, even religious, even the so-called civil society. There's no, everything's like there is an agenda, a hidden agenda, there is a propaganda somehow.
The third force.
Yeah. So now, as individuals, we try to live in corner, but again, it's not enough. No matter, we mustn't think that our efforts are meaningless. It's like that story, someone speaking the showers on the coast. Say, too much science. Why is you never tell me what is one that is bad? But the institution, I think what the society is suffering, there's no leadership, but okay, what does God say about it? Starts with God and everything. And then maybe as society, maybe we have to be, not to be scared.
Yeah.
But again, through this noise, how do you start? Where do you start? There's so much noise. There's so much noise. Noise, whether it's literal or otherwise, but there's so much noise, which is blocking our brains, blocking our hearts.
Maybe one of the questions that it brings about is also kind of the death of hope. It's as you look around at your institutions and you see how they're crumbling and how it's just words and no real substance to it, to them. You kind of start losing hope. And I think there is a lot of this rise in cynicism and hopelessness and suicide, being just kind of these mental diseases and things that are happening, conditions.
What they read.
This noise is really depressing us. Yeah. Some days you just say, oh God, maybe I should just give up. And then you say,
sometimes it's better not to follow the news.
I had that one.
But that's why, as you said, the work of the spirit, of that internal work, is so important then, because you have to kind of strengthen yourself
and to block out the rubbish.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And we mustn't read all this rubbish. Sometimes I say to myself, those creators of fake news, they don't make anything big with me.
Yes.
Really. Something constructive, something good for humanity instead of creating this rubbish.
Well, you know, some people believe in the chaos theory, hey?
Yeah.
They just want to kind
There's
of
so much followers
push
of
chaos.
theory. There's so much followers of chaos theory.
Gosh, man,
They
really.
say there's order and chaos.
Yes.
And at that time I'm going crazy.
There was this guy on
Really?
Instagram who does that. He like on purpose, he will go on people's profiles
Oh God.
and then he will start kind of commenting, but like the total opposite.
Yeah.
Like this person, is, for example, is talking about gender equality and whatever, and this guy will come in and say, no, men are superior, women are... And that's his kind of... He doesn't even believe in what he's doing. He just believes in the process.
He's just creating chaos. You know?
He's creating more. I'm like, what kind of wastage of effort is that and time?
So what is your
He finds his
essential
joy
purpose
like
in this
that.
world?
It's so funny.
Is that what you are here for?
Exactly.
To mess people around?
Does it end up being humorous or is it really like controversial?
No, it's controversial. He's like, seriously. And then he finds it the most amusing thing ever. It's like, I thought, okay, that's like taking it to another level now. But it's interesting how... But I think it's also a symptom of just cynicism, right? It's like, okay, there's so much... Everybody's talking, you know. Let me just be as radical as you can be. You know,
Yeah, there are people who survive with that.
the shock value. It's interesting.
Thank you, friends.
Thanks so much, Kully.
Oh, no,